Today I'm going to be taking a look at Nitrux 1.0.15. Nitrux Linux is an Ubuntu-based Linux distribution that is rather unique. It uses its own custom desktop environment called Nomad. Nomad is basically an extension or a fork of a KDE Plasma. It is basically a new shell that's built on Plasma. It kind of mimics Elementary's Pantheon desktop a little bit, at least in my opinion. It seems to resemble Pantheon a little more than Plasma, but it's based on Plasma, the Nomad desktop. Anyway, Nitrux 1.0.15 was just released yesterday. I have reviewed Nitrux once before on the channel, and my review was not very positive. I didn't really care for it, but it is an interesting project, very unique, and I thought, I should follow the development, and with this new release, I definitely wanted to check it out, so let's get started. So, Nitrux 1.0.15. Let's take a look at the release announcement over here at distrowatch.com. Actually, if I go to just the Nitrux DistroWatch page here, let me read a quick blurb from DistroWatch about Nitrux. Nitrux, it is an Ubuntu-based Linux distribution suitable for laptops and desktop computers. Its main desktop environment is Nomad, a KDE Plasma desktop enhanced with plasmoids to create a special blend of aesthetics and functionality. The project also focuses on building redistributable applications using the app image format. So Nitrux is all in on app image. The last time I reviewed it, one of my big complaints, I just really grilled the devs over this, is Nitrux Software Center, their graphical software center, only includes app images. There's not that many app images out there. Most app images are not for programs you've ever heard of. So one of my big critiques, especially being an Ubuntu-based distro, why in your app store are you not also including snaps? Because Ubuntu has a ton of snap packs available now. It's kind of strange to base off of Ubuntu, but not include snaps in your software center, but you include app images. Anyway, a little weird. But anyway, I don't want to get ahead of myself on that. We'll save that for when we actually get into the distro and take a look at the review. Looking at the release announcement from Nitrux, their SourceForge page here. Let's see, we're pleased to announce the launch of Nitrux 1.0.15. The new version brings together the latest software updates, bug fixes, performance improvements, and ready-to-use hardware support. What's new? Updated packages to Ubuntu Cosmic, so they're basing off of the upcoming Ubuntu 18.10 Cosmic Cuttlefish. Very cool. Updated kernel to version 4.18.5. That is a very, very recent kernel. Updated Plasma to 5.13.4. KDE apps 18.08. Updated Kvantum to version 0.10.9, added Mesa 18.1.5 drivers for Vulkan, yada yada yada, added support for exFAT drives, added support for ButterFS partitions and Calamares, though the default file system in the Calamares installer is still Extend 4. They've also added Kcalc to the image. I guess Kcalc wasn't on there. That's strange, being a KDE distro. Anyway, known issues, app images not showing an icon in the menu, yeah. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and download the ISO and install this inside VirtualBox. Alright, so I downloaded the ISO. The ISO was 1.5 gigs in size. And installing this in a VM today, a virtual machine. So I'm using VirtualBox. Gave this VM a 2 cores of my 6-core CPU. 2 cores of my 6-core CPU. I gave it 4 gigs of RAM. And we wait for the live image to boot up. It may take a minute for the live desktop environment to load. This is similar to booting off a live USB stick or a live DVD. Sometimes it takes a couple of minutes to get into the desktop environment. Got my coffee today though. Really needed the coffee today. Had an early morning. Alright, neat little splash screen that said Nomad. Again, their own custom KDE Plasma shell called Nomad. Alright, and on the live image, the guest editions, the VirtualBox guest editions work out of the box, so I get a proper screen resolution here in the ISO, booting off the ISO. Anyway, I'm not going to do much with the live desktop, but I will say the live desktop looks gorgeous. Really, really nice live desktop. If I hit the menu system, you see how that kind of resembles Elementary's Pantheon, their menu. Anyway, again, I don't want to review the live desktop environment. I want to run through the install and, review the installed Nitrux 1.0.15. So let's run through the installer. And again, they're using the Calamares installer. That is an interesting choice because Ubuntu, of course, uses its own Ubiquity installer. Most Ubuntu-based distros use Ubuntu's Ubiquity installer. That being said, Ubiquity has been around forever, and some Ubuntu-based distros, even some rather well-known Ubuntu-based Linux distros, are moving to Calamares these days. You're starting to see more and more of this. The Calamares installer is a fantastic installer. Anyway, language, American English has been chosen for us. That's correct. I'm going to click Next. All right, region, the Central Time Zone's what I need. Click Next. All right, keyboard, yep, English US, yep, good, next. We need to create our username. So what is my real name? My real name is DT. What do I want my username to be to log in? DT is fine. What is the name of this computer? DT-PC. Yeah, that's good. Now we need to choose a strong and complicated password for security reasons. All right. Do I want to log in automatically without asking for the password? No, that's a security risk. I want to be asked for a password to log into my computer for privacy reasons. All right. Now, partitioning. Do I want to erase the disk and let Nitrux do automatic partitioning, or do I want to choose manual partitioning and create the partitions myself? I'm going to choose erase disk. I'm going to let Nitrux have the entire 15 gig hard drive of this virtual machine and let it do its automatic partitioning. All right, here's our summary. Location, that looks good. Keyboard, that looks good. The partition scheme looks good. I'm going to click install, and away it goes. This portion of the install probably will take between 5 and 10 minutes to complete, so I'm going to pause the video. Alright, and this portion of the installation has completed. That took maybe 5 minutes, probably less than 5 minutes. That may have took like 3 or 4 minutes. Very fast install. Again, the ISO was only 1.5 gigs in size, and I don't think there's that many programs installed on Nitrux by default. Anyway, in the Calamares installer, to complete installation, as with all operating systems, you need to restart to complete the installation. So you make sure Restart Now is ticked on and click Done, and your machine should reboot. That's what I'm going to do right now. Alright, and I've rebooted my freshly installed Nitrux 1.0.15. Let's see how fast boot up time takes. And we wait for the login manager. That was rather fast. We got to this login manager very fast. Unusual looking login manager screen too. Let's log in. Did notice that it looked like the VirtualBox guest editions are not working, at least at the login manager. Let's see once we get into the desktop environment. Hopefully they're working again. We get a proper screen resolution. And that appears to be the case, so awesome. Alright, so first impressions, some of the first impressions from the live environment, but also now that we have it installed. Love the wallpaper. The wallpaper is really nice, this abstract art, very bright colors, really pretty colors. It's got this hashtag, it's only impossible until it's done. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe that's a hashtag that they're doing something with Twitter. I don't know. I don't have a Twitter account anymore. You know, I deleted Twitter a while back and went to Mastodon. I suggest all of you guys, especially if you're subscribed to my channel and want to follow, some of what I do, join me over on Mastodon. Get off Twitter and Facebook. Those are not good for you. They don't respect your privacy. They don't respect your security. Anyway, enough of the Mastodon hype train there. Anyway, first impressions, beautiful. I love, the very just simple, dark theme, simple panel, not much going on. We've got the dock at the bottom. I'm assuming this is a dock. Is this Plank, maybe? Dock, panel settings, let's see. Latte. It's a latte dock. Okay. Latte is a, well, it's a dock program, but it's mainly used in KDE. Apparently it has some KDE dependencies. It was really designed to be used as a dock inside KDE Plasma, so it makes sense for them to be using Latte dock. Let me go over what is installed by default on Nitrux, which when I hit the menu, same as the live environment, not much is here. Now I see the 2 dots here, so I'm assuming there's 2 panels here, 2 screens of apps. Yeah, if I hit the second one, we get more apps, but so I'm assuming this first screen is maybe like recent apps, things you've used. Of course, I've never used anything, but I guess by default they populate it with the system settings, the settings manager, Dolphin File Manager, Kate, the text editor, and of course Chromium, our web browser. But I think the second pane actually lists all the apps on the system, which if this is all the apps on the system, there's nothing here. There is almost nothing installed by default on Nitrux. And for somebody like me who likes to install the programs that I like to install, rather than being given a kitchen sink, suite of applications, this is actually really nice. I really think this is the way to go. Anyway, they just gave you like bare bones applications just so you can get some work done. Probably to get some work done in case you use this as a live USB stick or a live DVD, which you could. Arc is the KDE archive manager. It's for, zip, unzip, tar, rar, that sort of thing. Arc is a really nice archive manager. Also, we have Babe. Let's check out Babe. Babe is taking a second to load up. Okay. Anyway, Babe appears to be a some kind of multimedia program. Is it music? Yeah, title, artist, album, duration. Of course, I have no music here. I just have the word oops here. Does it give me any kind of information as far as a version number or anything? Probably up here in the global menu. So they're using a global menu. This is very kind of Mac-like, also kind of elementary OS-like. You got your global menu at the top, and of course the dock at the bottom. Anyway, help about Babe. Babe, it's a tiny, cute music player, version 1.0. Okay. I've never used Babe personally on any of my systems, but I'm sure it's a really fine music player. Of course, Chromium is our web browser, so they've opted to go with Chromium as the default web browser. Although being an Ubuntu-based system, you could sudo apt install Firefox if you chose, or those of you that don't mind proprietary software, I'm sure you could get Google Chrome installed. Vivaldi is also a fine, another proprietary browser, but I kind of like Vivaldi. Vivaldi works well, especially for those of you that do Google Hangouts. If you don't want to use Google Chrome, but you like to do Hangouts sometimes, Vivaldi is nice. Anyway, Chrome, let's see if we can find a version number for Chrome. Chromium. This is the open source Chromium. Version 68.0. Close the tabs. Alright. And again, very few programs installed. Dolphin, of course, is your standard file manager in KDE. Really nice icon set. I mean, this is really colorful. Nice bright colors. Really professional looking distro as far as just appearance. And matter of fact, the release notes said they focus on aesthetics. Aesthetics and functionality. Aesthetics, they get right. Functionality, I don't know yet, but aesthetics, they nail it on that, I think. Just really a gorgeous distro. Info Center, we have Kate again, which is a text editor, plain text editor in KDE. Kcalc, which they made a point to mention Kcalc in their release notes. I guess they didn't include a calculator before, and now they do. And of course, this is the standard calculator in KDE. Kcalc 18.0, actually 18.8.0. And also included is, of course, KDE's console, the standard terminal emulator in KDE. I'll leave that open because I might do something in it here in a second. We have KSysGuard here. KSysGuard is our system monitor. Let's see what kind of system resources Nitrux, and in particular the Nomad desktop environment, uses. So if I go to system load here, again, I gave this 2 cores of my 6-core CPU, and CPU usage is pretty normal. 2%, 4%, 8%, single-digit percentages. And that's with, a couple of different programs open and a little bit of stuff going on in the sys tray up here. So CPU, pretty standard. Memory usage, I gave this machine 4 gigs. It's only using about 600 megs. For KDE, not bad. That's pretty good. So, system resources for a KDE Plasma desktop or Plasma-based desktop. Again, Nomad is kind of its own shell based on Plasma. But I give it an A as far as system resources. That's pretty good. And then we had the Kvantum. We have Latte, which is the dock. LibreOffice. Let's see, is this the LibreOffice entire suite? I mean, is it? We only had one LibreOffice icon, so yeah. So I could open a Writer document, a Calc spreadsheet, an Impress presentation, drawing, math formula, of course, base, the database. So, and I have been entitling window managers way too long. Instead of closing that by hitting the button, at first I tried to close it with a keyboard combination that does not work on the Nomad desktop in Nitrux. It was a key binding I have for things like Qtile and Xmonad on my Manjaro machine. Really, once you live in tiling window managers for a little while, you kind of get stuck in that mindset, and it's hard to go back to floating windows. QPDF view is our PDF viewer. I don't have any PDF files to view here in this VM. Show image, I'm assuming, is our image viewer. Let's check it out. Yeah, open image. So I don't have any images to take a look at on this system either. Software Center, we're going to come back to Spectacle. Spectacle, that takes screenshots, I believe. Yes, it does. Another KDE app. Fine app. Spectacle. System settings is our settings manager, and of course VLC. Here's our multimedia player, and this, of course, be what we would use to play videos here in Nitrux. Alright, so I said I would go back to the Software Center, so let me open this up, because this was really my biggest criticism the last time I reviewed Nitrux is their Graphical Software Center. The Nitrux main devs, only want to support app images. They don't want anything else. In their Software Center, they don't want, it's like they pretend things like Snappack and Flatpak don't exist. It's also like they pretend like the Ubuntu repositories don't exist. The only thing that was in their Software Center the last time I took a look at it was, I don't know, a couple of hundred app images. You know, because that's about all the number of app images, at least there were at that time. And most app images are things you've never heard of, like Altair and Navis and, you know, all these programs that are, you know, not the programs you actually need to install. For example, let me think of something that was not installed by default that I need. GIMP. Now, GIMP is in the Ubuntu repos, so I know I could sudo apt install GIMP. GIMP also is available as a snap pack. I could sudo snap install GIMP. If snaps were available in Nitrux, they disable it by default. They remove it from Ubuntu, which they're based on. Now I could, you know, enable snaps again, but still, why are you basing off Ubuntu and then taking the best parts of Ubuntu away, like snaps? Anyway, GIMP. Now, GIMP now is actually in their repos. So, does GIMP have an app image? Maybe they do. If I click Get, let's see what happens. I think I clicked it. I thought I clicked it, but it doesn't look like anything happened. And I think I had this problem the last time I took a look at this is, you know, sometimes, well, there it goes. So, see, I hit Get, but it gives me no information on this screen to tell me that I actually clicked it and that it's downloading it. But this button here, running tasks, you see it's actually downloading GIMP. Okay, so that's good. But they need to give me some kind of information after I click Get to let me know, you know, give me some kind of progress bar here to, you know. HTOP. HTOP is a wonderful program I would like to install, so HTOP is not here. HTOP is standard in the Debian repos and the Ubuntu repos, so they're not including any of the standard stuff in the Ubuntu repos. Again, they're only including app images, nothing else. Why do you have a graphical software center if the only thing you're going to throw in there is a few app images? Most of the app images are programs nobody's ever heard of, nobody wants to use either. You really need to start supporting the Ubuntu repos in your graphical software center, and I still don't know why you disabled snaps on your Ubuntu-based distro. If I go over here to the terminal, sudo snap install. Well, if I can type right. Install. Ah, keyboard's giving me some problems. I need to change the batteries in it. I'm going to sudo snap install GIMP. Alright, if I go over here to the terminal and I sudo snap install GIMP, so I'm downloading or installing the app image from Nomad Software Center. Sudo snap install, I can install the snap pack for GIMP too. I could do that on Ubuntu and most Ubuntu based distros, but you know what? Yeah, snaps work. I don't think snaps worked the last time I reviewed it. I think this is one of the things that I really kind of chastise the main devs for, is, you know, because they are doing nothing but app images in their software center. They took snapd off of their distro, even though snapd, of course, is installed by default on Ubuntu. It looks like they left snaps in place now. That's great. So I actually am installing two different versions of GIMP right now. I'm installing the app image. Okay, the app image has installed successfully, and I'm installing the snap. Awesome. I tell you what, you know, the Nitrux guys, I give them credit. Some of the criticism that I had last time I reviewed it, apparently they do listen to those criticisms, not just from me. I'm sure other people had similar criticisms, and this is a big improvement, the fact that snaps, they didn't remove snaps from their Ubuntu-based distro, so I can still sudo snap install anything I want to. I still think, though, if you're going to have a graphical software center, you need to have more things in it than just a few app images. At the very least, you need to include the standard packages that are in the Ubuntu repos in your graphical software center, because the only other way of discovering software on here really is the command line. I don't think we have any other software utility other than that software center. No. So for a brand new user, they're going to think there's absolutely no software available at all on this distro because there's nothing in that software center. So unless you're familiar with the command line and know how to use apt in the command line, that could be an issue for new users. But really, overall, I will say this distro has improved a ton since the last time I reviewed it. It's very clean, very polished, seems very fast, lightweight for Plasma, Nomad based on Plasma. Love the look and feel of it. I don't personally use a GUI software center, you know, myself. I would use the command line anyway, so that doesn't affect somebody like me, more of an advanced user. But again, for brand new to Linux users that would use that graphical software center, you got to improve that thing. I'm going to configure desktop here and see what kind of wallpapers we have to choose from. You guys know I love to play around with the wallpapers. Then they've got some really nice abstract art wallpapers here. And I want to say, you know, they had some really beautiful wallpapers the last time I looked at it. As a matter of fact, some of the same wallpapers. I recognize a few of these. Some of them are standard Plasma wallpapers here, like this one here. Of course, that's the default one that we were looking at earlier. Really cool wallpaper. Matter of fact, I'll leave the default one on. And I want to check out some of the theme options here. So I'm going to click on Workspace Theme and see what kind of theming options we have. Let me open up the file manager, Dolphin, so I can see some of the theme changes as they take place. By default, Nomad Dark is our theme. I guess this is this light window theme with the dark panel, which honestly, I probably wouldn't change if I was running Nitrux. I mean, this is a really gorgeous default theme. But for those that want to use something else, you do have other options. You have Breeze and Breeze Dark. Breeze is the standard default KDE Plasma theme. If I enable it, let me see, hit apply. And does that take effect? There we go. Breeze is a really pretty theme too. Breeze Dark is really nice. If you like dark themes are really nice if you have light wallpapers to contrast the dark themes. But I really like Nomad Dark. I think that's pretty sharp because it has these lighter, silvery grayish color windows with the dark panel at the top. I think that is pretty neat. You have the Nomad, the standard Nomad here, which I guess is a completely light theme. Yes, now light panel, light windows. Okay. I'm going to go back to the default, which was the Nomad Dark, though. Alright. Yeah, I really like the default theme, icon theme. The default wallpaper is a really, really sharp-looking distro. Overall, what do I think about Nitrux 1.0.15? Complete and total turnaround from the last time I reviewed this thing. The last time I reviewed this, my review was not positive at all. My review this time, wow, this is actually pretty impressive. Very, very clean, very polished, very pretty, very, well put together distro, especially for a small distro, a community distro. This is, again, very sharp looking distro. Some of the criticisms that I had before have been addressed. In specific, now snaps are still on the system. They didn't remove the snaps from their Ubuntu-based distro, which made no sense for them to do before. Also, the Software Center still only has app images. I think that's a mistake. So that criticism still stands. But overall, I give Nitrux an A. Really, this would actually interest me as far as something to install on physical hardware and test out for a couple of weeks. The Nomad desktop is pretty interesting. I do have to give it that. It has slimmed down KDE. There's not so much information presented. Again, it's very much Pantheon-like, this very, very simple menu system. I mean, not much to it at all. And then, of course, you have, if you open up a program, you have the global menu at the top, very Mac-like global menu, which personally, I love global menus with the dock at the bottom. Really, really nice. Anyway, before I go, I do need to give a special thanks to all my patrons. A special thanks to AK, Alan, Alex, Anson, Tony, Bart, Benjamin, Ben, Bill, Bruno, Brian, Carlos, Christian, Chuck, Dan, the other Dan, Daniel, David, the other David, Dirk, Eduardo, Francisco, Greg, Humade, Interceptor, Jake, John, Carl, Katrina, Keith, Leor, Marcus, the other Marcus, Mateo, Mark, Martin, Matthias, Michael, Mr. GFY, Mr. Smarty Pants, Mr. Neely Pops, Paul, Rob, Robert, Ron, Silvio, First Stephen, Second Stephen, Third Stephen, Swami, Tiedemann, Voice Live, Tubella, and John. You guys rock. You guys help make this show possible. Peace, guys.